So we've got Sultai Shadow up here. Pretty stock. Some people are pointing out that there's only 3 Tarmogoyfs, which is a little bit weird, but we've got Traverse the Ulvenwald and like Liliana the Last Hope for some threat redundancy. So Darth Call, sometimes you have to wait for a little bit. Like you just subscribed today, so I'll tell the server to manually refresh her really quick for you. Integrations. I just sunk it. I'll tell it to manually sync up. Be aware that in order to sync, you need to be using your desktop web browser. You cannot link the accounts for mobile. Aether Vial could be okay. I don't know, like you probably want a lot of lands just because Gravecrawler needs mana. Stream Decker, yeah, good call, good call. Get that Stream Decker going on. His hand only has 1 land, but it's got a bunch of redraws in it here. So we get to run the old Bauble, Fetch Lane, Street Wraith, Soft Scry here. So we get to go ahead and Bauble ourselves. And if we want to draw the card that's on top of our deck, we'll cycle Street Wraith. And if we don't like the card that's on top of our deck, we'll fetch before we cycle the Street Wraith. So let's take a peekaboo here. I don't think I'm in the market for a Serum Visions. I guess it's another redraw if I'm in danger of missing. Yeah, it's probably fine. Ding. So we'll go Fetch, Shock, Thoughtseize here. No biggie. No big. Just put myself to 11. What have I done? I've made a horrible mistake. I've made a terrible, horrible mistake, chat. I've made a terrible, horrible mistake. There's so many lightning bolts. Why are there so many lightning bolts? Oh no. Oh no. I think we're supposed to take a bolt because they can bolt me end step, untap, double bolt me in response to the other Thoughtseize. This is my own doing. You are not wrong. You are not wrong. Thoughtseize gain 1. Go. It's the Stone Cold Bratwurst. Just deal 9 to myself. Thoughtseize 12 lightning bolts, you know, no big. Why is there a Marsh Flats in this deck? Just like an extra block fetch. Okay, I guess that makes sense. Hey, you call. Thank you for the 2-month resubscription there. I appreciate you re-upping and welcome back. Thanks for keeping me employed this month. Great. Weird that they played the snow-covered island if they weren't going to cast the Snapcaster Mage in response to a discard spell there. I feel like if they weren't casting the Snapcaster in response to a discard spell there, they're probably supposed to play a tap Steam Vents. Thanks, alcohol. I came here for my disciplinary timeout. I got you. I got you, fam. Oh no. Oh no. Pour one out for our boy Stubbs, chat. Everybody pour one out for our boy Stubbs. The fat Stubby D. Give him, take a chance on me. do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do you have a stifle bird? Do you have a stifle bird? You do. No. Bad Delver player. No! Whew. 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 Alright, I think we're dead anyways, right? I need to draw a Fatal Push here. The Heroic Act is something you can use one of your 2 actions on once per turn. And you can only use 1 Heroic Action total every single turn. Well, you see here... Just gotta take our own way out, chat. Yeah, it's like an activated ability. Yep, exactly. This is definitely a stub matchup. It's definitely a Brutality, Abrupt Decay matchup. I assume I want to approach this matchup like I would want to approach Burn. The Burn matchups. I think I want to trim these Street Wraiths, just like not go super fast all the time. Land the Veil's kind of medium. A lot of the threats are instant speed. Yeah, that's one of the things that always struck me about these Death Shadow decks. Actually, it was one of the reasons why I really like I've been liking Grixis Delver as opposed to Grixis Shadow. Is like the Shadow decks are really threat light for the most part. I think the Thought Seizes are okay. Being able to getting information to play around things in their hand is usually pretty reasonable. And while Thought Seize isn't ideal, it's generally gaining us at least 1 life in like a worst fail case scenario. I'm gonna top that as a show of strength, and we're gonna fetch it away here. Go grab an island. My friends play both GDF and Wizards. He says Wizards doesn't like this. I think this matchup's pretty close. I think the matchup tends to have a lot of play. While this Goyf is only a 2/3, it just gets to hang out here. It's not going to die to Lightning Bolt. Because, oh no! Oh no! Who told you to put Soulscar Mage in your deck, opponent? That's so bad for my Tarmogoyf. Why would you put a Soulscar Mage in your deck? How am I supposed to win the game now? Oh, jeez. Well, you know, that's just some good deck building right there. It's just, you know. The Goyf is hanging on, chat. He's doing his darndest. He's trying to hang in there. None of these things are good for us. Maybe during the next ban and restricted list, they'll ban Soulscar Mage. The card's really unfair. For the record, I think blue-red versus Grixis Delver is close. This Sultai Delver is kind of a tier whatever deck that's not really a deck in the metagame. So I don't know how this matchup plays out. I wouldn't be surprised if this matchup is bad for the Sultai deck. Banning it doesn't make any sense, so they might do it, right? And, like, I get to take their Snapcaster Mage here, but I also just, like, don't have an answer to this Grim Lavamancer. Or, like, this Delver that's gonna flip and give it to me. A Priest of Gix, thank you very much for the brand new Twitch Prime support. And there's a lot of great people making a lot of great stuff on Twitch right now. Thanks for sending your Bezo bucks this way this month. I do appreciate that. This is a small mistake on the opponent's part here. They should hold that fetch land to get a pseudo scry with the Delver. So that if they see a card on top of their deck that they don't want to draw, they could fetch it away. So like if they're drawing a land here, they could have fetched that land away. Oh, Traverse the Ulvenwald. Oh, Traverse the Ulvenwald. I'm making this attack hoping they kill one of my things because then I get to Traverse the Ulvenwald for something. This is a Snapcaster Mage or Nimble Obstructionist. Nimble. We are super dead. The blue-red deck's really good, chat. If you haven't played the blue-red deck and you're looking for a fair deck to play in Modern, I would highly, highly recommend the blue-red tempo deck. As always, you can find my latest deck list for that on my website, jeffhoagland.com/decklist. It's all up there. There's Prime emotes? That's fancy. What do I think the best blue-black deck is? I think the blue-black thing deck is very reasonable. I actually added that deck to my website pretty recently, too. I think this league might have played out differently if you had Thoughtseize earlier and find out what they were playing. Now, I mean, like, what was I going to do? Not cycle the Street Wraiths? Like, the Street Wraiths are there to be cycled. The first game was actually obscenely close, right? Like, they had to have another thing and they had to brick off. So we get to run the old Bauble Street Wraith fetch scry here again. So basically extra chances to find land drops here. What's going on, Anner? Howdy, howdy. There's a Verdant Catacombs. I would love a Verdant Catacombs. Don't mind if it does. Anner did hit the 50k, 500k. It's 500k, right? The 500k cheer badge. Tron. All right, so I've got a fat stubby D for this Oblivion Stone. I think I'm just gonna take the chromatic whatever here. Like, hope they stumble a little bit. So I get to play a 4/5 Goyf next turn. Yep, that is also true. You should cycle the Street Wraith before Thoughtseizing so you know the most information about the cards you're going to have access to before you make a decision about what you want to take away from them. My body is ready for them to hit natural Tron here and cast Wormcoil that we can never beat. That's definitely about what's going to happen. Yeah, when you get to Anner levels of Crownage and Hoaglandia, you get to dictate what color your crown is. When you're in your own crown class, you get to dictate what you would like your crown to look like. No, I do. Whenever he hits a new one, I keep pushing the teal one up for him. What do bits cost in dollars? 1 bit is 1 penny. So the easiest way to convert bits to USD is chop the last 2 zeros off. So Anner's crown is a $5,000 crown. Because he's a baller. I'm gonna bottom this. I actually don't need another threat. I'm looking for like discard spells and stubs and ways to make my existing shadow larger. Cast a Worm Coil this turn and make me slide out of my chair. Pro tip, chat. It's difficult to slide out of your chair if you don't have a chair you're sitting in. Who is the Feudal Lord, OG, and Hoaglandia? Anner and Justin both have similar donation totals. Pro Thicko, thank you for the brand new tier 1 sub there. I appreciate that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thanks for keeping me employed here this month. So, if they cast a Sylvan Scrying here, I would need to stub them, right? So this is small, but I actually want to make sure I tap my Watery Grave to cast the Serum Visions, because I don't want them to be able to Field of Rune me off of my blue source this turn. I would love another fat stubby D. Thank you very much. They are almost dead in 2 here. You can set regular subs up to auto renew. It should be a setting. Janice, if you're watching from mobile, be aware that buying bits on mobile is more expensive because Google needs their cut. So buying bits in the browser gets you more bits for dollars. Yeah, I am a big fan of Golgari Charm in general. This deck list actually, it doesn't have... It has 1, 2... I guess you can search for this. I like having lots of ways to kill what's it called? Kill Leyline of Sanctity. There's no Fulminator Mage in the board, which is interesting. I think I'm obligated to stub this because I can't beat a Worm Coil next turn. What's our record with the deck? We lost the first match in this league to Blue-Red Delver. Ding. Lethal fetch land is lethal. Yeah, I agree. Golgari Charm does a lot for a little. I'm a big fan of that card in green Blackrock as well. Yeah, that's also true. Cleaning up things when you don't have TBR is great. All right, so Tron, we've got another stub and some rejections here. Reclamation Sage and Maelstrom Pulse are like fine to a degree. Fatal Push is obviously very bad here. Last Hope is not good. Dismember is not good. Liliana the Veil's okay. She can pressure their hand nicely. Not that I want anything else. If you have access to land destruction, I don't mind bringing in Surgical against Tron, because after you destroy a Tron piece, you can Surgical them out. But because this deck explicitly doesn't destroy lands with like Fulminator Mage or anything like that, I think the Surgicals need to stay in the sideboard for this matchup. Yeah, the Vryn's Prodigy is interesting. It hasn't come up yet, but I'm curious to see if it ends up being better than Snapcaster Mage on average. I bring in Surgical if I had Thought Scour. Yeah, probably. I think there's probably reasonable value in being able to do that on occasion. I don't know. It probably depends on how bad my Tron matchup is. Like, if I had a really bad Tron matchup and I had Thought Scour and Surgical, I would probably bring them in just to, like, hope to get them. Just because, like, the match is bad, so I need to sneak one out, basically. Beast Within. That's an interesting one. No, I think Big Gang Hunter is not worth it. We're going to have a hard time winning through two Worm Coil tokens, so I'd rather just, like, try and make that not happen. Yeah, one of the things that Modern does really well, especially compared to a format like Legacy, is that the power level of this format, while it is, you know, it's higher than Standard, it's not so high that new cards basically is impossible to make an impact on it. The Red-Black Walkers deck did very poorly. You'll be able to find my thoughts on it and concise, specific feedback, as always, on my YouTube channel later. Much, much later, though, because today's going to be a long stream. We've going for, I don't know, probably another 7 or 8 hours still today. Thanks, everyone, for hanging out. Everyone's having a good weekend. Having a good Friday wherever you're at. All right, so they have Tron. And they have Worldbreaker and Thragtusk. I don't think I can beat either of those cards, right? Not while they're at 20. How much to donate to get a deck played today? If you would like to cut into the current day's line, it is a $100 donation. I am very organized and schedule things in advance, so if you would like for me to break up my organization, you have to make it worth my while. My thoughts on Temur Delver versus Grixis Delver. We've played both of those very recently on stream, Mao Todd, and I'd recommend you check them out on my YouTube channel. If you don't have time to watch an entire league, there is a wrap-up segment at the end of every video when we play a deck that you can click through. It should be time-stamped in the video description to get my thoughts on those archetypes. Or meant to say Shadow. There's a Temur Shadow deck. Yeah, actually, the Esper Shadow deck is one that I had on my list to put up on the website, potentially. I don't know if Shadow's actually good in that deck, though, so I'm not 100%. You should watch the wrap-up from today. I think there's probably an Esper Goryo deck that if we played it enough could end up there, but I don't know that I would necessarily want the what's it called in it. We've like fetch, Bauble, Street Wraith, Scryed so many times this league. Like, normally this isn't something that comes up this often, but it's been coming up a lot here. I think I'd rather take a random than a Bauble here. Having extra cards in my graveyard doesn't really add value. There's a lot of decks that have been submitted by Justin that have the suggestion of delete them in the wrap-up. Is Force of Will a card that misses in Modern that Delver actually play? I don't think you really need Force of Will in Modern, to be honest. Relic. That's annoying. Let's go ahead and put Overgrown Tomb into play here. Cast my 3/3. We did get got by the Immortal Sun. You are not wrong. Hey, waifu. Yo.
You ordered yourself lunch.
I did. I always order myself lunch when I have a long stream. Relic. Do I care about Relic? My threat here is Death Shadow, so I think I don't. Let's draw really quick here and see what we get. If we draw a Tarmogoyf, I might stub this. No, I think this is fine. I think we're firmly on the Shadow play in this game. Let's just like try not to die. Seriously though, the Grixis Delver list we played last time felt really good. We're gonna play it again today and see if that's the case again, but I feel like having played Grixis, having played blue-red and now Grixis, like, I feel like a lot of the people that are complaining about that are complaining about like Delver not being good enough in Modern, they're just crying because Delver in Modern isn't exactly the same as Delver in Legacy, which is a good thing because Delver in Legacy is kind of messed up. The Grixis list we're going to play today is my preferred configuration of the archetype. This is game 3 in this match. Looking pretty reasonable for us. Got the old giant creature here and a bunch of stubs. Honestly, Thragtusk is one of their better draws at this point, right? Because it's a card that none of our counterspells tag. I'm going to go ahead and rejection this. I think at this point that's worth grabbing. I actually really like the Delver Treasure Cruise meta. This archetype's okay. We've played Sultai Shadow a few times in the past. Not having access to Temur Battle Rage is a big deal. You steal a lot of games with that card in the other Shadow variants. I think Baleful Strix would probably be fine. I think Baleful Strix is likely a card they wouldn't print through Standard, though. So in order to get that card into Modern, they would need an alternative way to have that happen. Are you dead? I found the attack button. Bye, Tron. So, people often talk about, like, what makes decks, like the Modern format's, like, cyclical to a degree, but it's also a format where people play lots of different things. Once upon a time, Death Shadow was, like, kind of the boogeyman of the format, right? And people often ask, like, well, what really changed to, like, make that no longer be the case? And the advent of humans really is what kind of pushed this deck down to just being, like, a tier 2 or, like, fringe player, just like so many other things in Modern. And the reason for that is twofold. I don't think the humans matchup is strictly terrible with this deck, but what humans did to make this deck worse is that humans really preys on a lot of the matches that this archetype is really good against. This archetype tends to beat up on spell-based combo decks specifically, and humans is just very, very good against most spell-based combo decks. It's got efficient disruption combined with a clock and just gets to run them out of most games. I would love a Thoughtseize, thank you. Bye-bye, Bob. So they're playing Jund. So this is a small thing, but it's important. I'm not going to crack my Mishra's Bauble right now because I don't want to draw the extra card for it until the start of my next turn because my opponent's going to play a discard spell next turn, and I would prefer that they have less choices in my hand when their discard spell resolves. So basically, they have to make a decision with this Inquisition with less total information. I think the argument that Bugler in humans is only doesn't solve problems that the deck has is one I believe. I think people like Cedric and Ross Merriam are very, very good Magic players, and if they are on the no Bugler bandwagon, they probably know what they're talking about. So humans does something similar to this deck, but on top of being similar, humans also has kind of a wider spread of... I don't know, what's the best way to put it? Is Cedric a competitive player? I mean, I'm not a competitive player, but I understand what's going on in Magic. Like, Cedric doesn't play in infinite tournaments, but he still plays in tournaments on occasion. Which Grand Prix did he make the finals of? I'm actually not familiar offhand. I think I want just Tarmogoyf here. Last Hope seems really good. I don't want a 4th land at this point. Yeah, that's a great analogy. If you double the amount of wolves in the forest, now all the wolves have half as much food. That is a great way to put it. Cedric has just realized that, like, much like myself, that he loves magic, but he wants to actually make magic his job. And the way you make magic your job is not by playing magic. It's by making magic content and doing, like, tournament magic adjacent things is how you turn this into a job. J Robes, thank you for the 8-month resubscription there. I appreciate it. That's 2/3 of a year, right? That's a weird concession. They must have just, like, drawn a bunch of lands, right? Like, that's the only explanation there. So, the way you want to approach a matchup like this, generally speaking, in my experience, is you don't want necessarily a bunch of discard spells in your deck and a bunch of counter spells. So, I think the Inquisitions definitely come out. I feel like this archetype probably can't afford to cut all of the Thoughtseizes, because we do need some amount of ways to drain our health down a little bit. But I think I'm going to trim one and bring in these brutalities, because killing Dark Confidant turn 2 when we're on the draw is kind of a big deal. I think I'm going to go ahead and click submit here. No, I think Spellbomb for Goyf is narrow. I think bringing in Spellbomb for Tarmogoyf decks is not reasonable. I think this hand's fine. Hey, I definitely subscribe to the school of thought of don't mulligan against discard decks as often as possible. The deck list extension on your screen scrolls for reference. Still having tons of fun playing Blue-Red Tempo, trying to decide between Jeskai, Thing Ascension, Jeskai, Nahiri. Thing Ascension is probably a little bit more competitive, I would estimate. But they're both pretty reasonable decks. Gosh, I just want both these cards, huh? It's like, yes, please, top. Oh, Hive Mind. So it's funny, I actually like keeping in Thoughtseize in the Mardu mirror, and Mardu kind of changes this school of thought, because the Mardu mirror, you get to play Faithless Looting, right? So, like, the fact that Faithless Looting exists in Mardu kind of changes the dynamic of what counter spells you get to like, or how you sideboard, basically, like how you play cards that play to the board effectively. Ooh, that's scary. That's a Goblin Rabble Master. I do not have a good answer to that at the moment. I'm not a big fan on Grimflayer in general. I think putting too many cards into this archetype that lean on the graveyard leaves you pretty vulnerable to sideboard hate. And I think there's it just doesn't have enough upside when it's working, and like the downside of being like a grizzly bear is just like not good enough. Fetch land. Fetch land. Fetch land. Bauble. Fetch land. Bauble. Ew. Magic's great when it's easy. I like when magic is easy. They really don't lost Lurgoyf. Like, there's literally a non-facetious joke in the Hearthstone community that Hearthstone isn't good software and Blizzard is a bad software company. I'm like, and that's basically my response is like, y'all have no idea what you're talking about. You don't even know what a good thing you have. Appreciate it. They have another discard spell here. So, no joke. This card is the reason why I would never play a Sultai or Esper deck in a Modern tournament that I cared about. I don't think Blood Moon is well positioned in Modern. I don't think it's super popular, but it is just the type of card that I hate losing to. And my entire tournament feels ruined when I go to a tournament and I lose to this card. So in general, I don't play decks that are bad against Blood Moon. That's my personal preference. The fact that there's no basic forest in this deck list is kind of offensive. Just like Stone Cold the Moon. I can't even like bring in this Reclamation Sage to play around it. And again, like, people that don't understand Modern and don't understand Magic, you'll hear them talk about how Blood Moon checks greedy mana bases and checks big mana decks. Blood Moon exists in this format solely to punish fair interactive mid-range decks. These decks that are trying to play a good, honest game of Magic the Gathering, that aren't trying to combo kill people or do something hyper linear, these are the decks that Blood Moon punishes. Yeah, that's true. I agree with that, Burgle. The decks that are bad against Blood Moon are any fair deck that has two or more colors that doesn't involve red. Honestly, I've been Blood Mooned out of games playing a blue-red deck before. Like, the card's just obnoxious. In my opinion, good game design is something that allows both players to make meaningful decisions during a game of Magic the Gathering, and Blood Moon eliminates entire sets of decision trees from a player, so it is bad game design by my definition. As someone who's played a lot of Tron and other big mana decks, those decks don't lose to Blood Moon very often. So, in Magic, if you're newer to Magic or TCGs, a fair versus an unfair deck refers to how the deck looks to win the game. So, both my deck and my opponent's deck are what would be classified as fair decks. We're basically not trying to set up some big one-turn kill combo. So, combo decks are decks that are trying to get a sequence of cards together to win the game all at once. Those are what are classified as unfair decks in Magic or TCGs in general. I would love a Thoughtseize. Wow, their hand is good. That's unfortunate. Tron is a classification called Big Mana. A deck that's looking to get mana far faster than most decks normally do, which is the linear progression of 1 mana per turn. I don't know that we're going to be able to do much here. I love fair decks like Griselbrand. I think I have to take K-Command here. I think I have to take K-Command. And then I'm going to shock this in and cast the Shadow. And then when they kill my Shadow, I can Traverse for Snapcaster and Snap Thoughtseize something else. and then like maybe get into this game if I also rip like a Fatal Push. So I'm going to grab Snapcaster Mage. And I think I need to snap Thoughtseize here, because I think the Bloodbraid Elf is going to bury us more than this Goyf threatens to. I could snap Fatal Push here, but I think dealing with the Bloodbraid Elf is more important, because that's going to allow them to snowball the game. Yep. Just want to, like, work on systematically dismantling their threats. Again, I'm going to Bauble during their upkeep because I want to see what they're drawing for the turn, but I also don't want to add a spell to my hand this turn to expose to a discard spell. You win this game, I'll donate $10. Sign me up. If they offer me a block here, I'm taking it. I think this is basically like casting Time Walk. I don't know, Burgle. If they flood a little bit, we could be okay if we rip a Fatal Push. Alright, it's a pretty good series for us here. Fetch a Shock land tapped here. And now we're kind of just both top decking. Their deck arguably top decks a little bit better than ours, I think, but it's definitely anybody's game at this point. Do I want a Shock or a Swamp? That's a good point. I probably want a Swamp. So I've got 1 Collective Brutality and 2 Thoughtseizes in my deck. I'm going to sit on the Goyf for a hot second. I get punished by Liliana the Veil, but like that's going to punish me regardless, right? It's going to punish me regardless. I get punished by, like, Thoughtseize and Inquisition here, but I think I'd rather... I know they have the Doomblade in their hand, so I'd like to wait till I find a discard spell, I think. Just super rewarded. Dang it, Bobby. Okay, I'm going to cast this out now, because we have, we do not have that many. We tried. Again, empty hand, so that's really good. Snapcaster Mage brought a friend to the party, chat. I'll take my $10. Ship it. Do 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 beep 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 do 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 do. There you go. There's the link. No, I like Death Shadow there because it actually kills them. I forgot what a bad deck Jund was. I hope they drew Blood Moon that last turn. Alright. We shilled recently? I feel like we have. What's going on, folks? Got over 800 people here in chat. Welcome. My name's Jeff Hoagland. I'm a full-time stream, meme, and content producer here on Twitch. If you enjoy my stuff, please consider subscribing to my channel. My subscribers are the people that keep me employed here full-time. I love doing this, but I wouldn't be able to be here the 30-plus hours a week that I am without the wonderful support of my subscribers. Past subscribing, you can also support my channel by checking out some of my very awesome sponsors. Playwho, thanks for kicking that Twitch Prime this way this month. I appreciate that. Welcome, welcome. Past subscribing, you can also support my content by checking out some of these wonderful folks. MTGOtraders.com. We'd love to buy and sell some Magic Online cards with you. And if you use code Hoagland PayPal at checkout with them, you'll save 8% on your singles orders there. BCW Supplies would love to help you to protect your very valuable TCG products. They do sleeves, deck boxes, and all sorts of great stuff. You can see everything they have to offer at bcwsupplies.com, and you can save 10% on your orders with them by using code Jeff10 at checkout. Honey is a free browser add-on that when you install it using link bit.ly/Google Honey, you'll be supporting my content here at absolutely no cost to yourself. What Honey does is when you throw stuff in your shopping cart online, it searches automatically for some coupon codes to try and save you some money on things you're going to be buying anyways. And finally, Lisa would like to get you on your way to a better night's sleep. Christy and I have been sleeping with Lisa for the last 3 months now, and we really enjoy it. I don't think we'd ever go back to a traditional pillow top mattress. You can save $160 or more on your new Lisa mattress by checking out links bit.ly/HugelBedUS and bit.ly/HugelBedCA. Moto's taking a hot second to find a match here, so I'll take one more plug here for myself. This SCG-Con ticker down here below the stream, that is to send me to SCG-Con at the end of this year, December 7th through the 9th. That's where the SCG Invitational takes place, which is a standard and modern tournament. That those dollary dues are not only to fund my plane ticket and hotel for that trip, but also to provide a little PTO, because this job has a lot of great gigs, but normally if I don't work, I don't get paid. So if I'm going on a trip like that, I need to make sure we can still pay the bills. At any rate, we are 2-1 with this Sultai Shadow deck currently, heading on into our 4th match. Let's see how the rest of this league can go. Thanks for hanging out today. Hope everyone's having a great Friday, wherever you're at in the world. Can you describe how the mattress is better or good compared to the usual ones? It's hard when you can't test online. Auxiliary Swank, thank you for the brand new Twitch Prime support. It's hard to describe like the feel of a mattress with just words. One of the big benefits to a foam mattress in general versus a pillow top is there's not a lot of movement through the mattress when you're getting up and off of it as well. So if you're someone who sleeps with a partner, you won't disrupt their sleep when you're getting in and out of bed nearly as much as you would. And Terramorphous coming through with the $10 donation there. Was we won the game, winner, chicken dinner. Thank you for the support. I'm gonna add that to the SCG fund, because why not? Also keep in mind, because you do generally want to try something before you fully commit to buying it. Lisa knows their mattresses are great, so they give you 3 months to sleep on it. So if you do buy the mattress, you can sleep on it for up to 90 days, and if you decide that it's not for you, if it wasn't worth your money, you can send it back. There's very, very little risk. If I don't get to 1,500, am I not going to SCG-Con at all? That is correct. If the thermometer doesn't tick all the way up, I'm not going to be going on the trip. I'll just stay home and stream that weekend like I do any other weekend. And if we don't make the full goal, I plan to do an additional 12-hour stream at some point to thank people for the donations that they made, even though we didn't make the goal. Because they're really bad, Turkin. When's the cutoff? I'm going to run the donation goal for... I'm going to run the donation goal for the SCG through the first week of November, November 7th. I would like a minimum of a month's notice before if I'm going to go to that tournament. So, about 2 months. Tournament is still a ways out. Yeah, I'd assume we're going to get there. It's been up, what? It's been up since Monday, and we've cleared 30%. So, we've cleared 30% in a ninth of the allotted time. Emeria. Ooh. This is about to be a grind, which is probably not good for us. Actually, if this is a grind, it's probably bad for us. This is a matchup where we are almost certainly the beatdown. The Crowns. The Crowns are good people. The Crowns make Hoaglandia go round, chat. Never forget. Peace, Terramorphous. Thanks for the support. Thanks for being a person of your word. I especially like bringing in worship against green black elves is like, that's like comical, right? As someone who has tiny people who occasionally climb into bed with him in the morning before I wake up, having a king-size mattress is so much better. We had a queen before we got the Lisa, and the king spacing is definitely ideal. Ashiok, thank you for the 10-month resub there. Because we're shipping your Bezo bucks this way again this month. I think I need to fatal push this, right? Just like need to run them down. Yeah, why don't you care for the Lord and Elves, Milo? I've been pretty happy with it. So for folks not familiar with the opponent's deck, we've actually played it on stream before. It is a Sun Titan combo deck of sorts, basically. You're looking to play a Sun Titan out very quickly. I'm almost at my crown. I have the bits, but I'm going to throw them at you one at a time. You are very close, Beetle. Look at that. That brings the donation total to a nice clean 444. Last Hope is... she's okay. So the problem here is that if my opponent wants to kill my creature, it's going to be with a Path to Exile, which kind of sucks. But I think I need to play this out still and just, like, get my clock going. I don't really have another guaranteed way to gain more health for myself. No clean totals is going on, Pikes. Oh, yeah. Give me that fat stubby D, Gideon. How you like my stubby D, Gideon? Do you like it? Is it good for you? That's good for me, Gideon. Oh, yeah. Oh, the post for Spike Land of Shame. Oh, my sweet summer child. Oh, my sweet summer child. All right, what are we doing? Let's bauble them. For the record, I think we're probably behind in this matchup, but that felt good, right, chat? Did anybody else feel good about that? I felt good about that. Let's get him in there. Some kind of X-Spell. Another Gideon, sure. Mamos with the $5 donation. Thank you for the support for SCG Corn. Does me showing up make it SCG Corn? Is that how that works? Can they beat Lily Emblem? The problem is that, like, they have, like, detention spheres and stuff in their deck. So, like, surviving to get to the Lily Emblem is, like, pretty unlikely. It's unfortunate we didn't have the Shockland last turn. This Gideon is, like, a huge beating. I couldn't, if I could traverse for a fetch, I would have. I only have 3 card types in my bin chat. That was not an option. If that was a legal play, I would have made it. Because it was not a legal play, I chose not to make it. I am many things, but I am not Alex Bertoncini, so I did not try to traverse for a fetch there. This is nice. I kind of wanted to get Snap into play anyways, just so I could start pressuring this Gideon. Whoa! They forgot to plus their Gideon. Ew. Gosh, they're so close to dead. Just like 9, 11. Sorry, I meant I could do 9 plus 2 is 11. So yeah, I just want to kill Gideon here. It's all a conspiracy theory. Whole stream is just mono conspiracy theories. Here's a Sun Titan we can never beat. Oh, we could have traversed for Street Wraith for lethal. That is such a good line. You are super correct. We could do... No, they were at 15, right? I could do 9, 10, 11, and that would be 13. Yeah. Wait, could I have... I could have traversed, right? No, because that would have killed me. Traverse, makes us... Yeah, chat. The only way these could have been lethal is if this was a 13. And this can't be 13, chat, because that means I'm dead. Because that means I'm dead. If your Death Shadow is a 13-13, you're not going to be happy. We're not getting to a Liliana emblem because we're dead. Fun fact, Shadow used to be able to get bigger than... than 13-13. Then they done went and changed the rules on us. They changed how Magic the Gathering works. Alright, I need to cut 3 more cards here. What am I cutting? Surgical's probably narrow, right? Like, I know I'm asking Twitch chat, like, should I board in Surgical? So, like, your answer is yes. But, like, put yourself in my shoes for the minute. Pretend you're not Twitch chat. Do you want to board in Surgical here? Gonna go grab some nachos and drinks. 500 more bits for Banned Spirits will do, Hampu. You're a clown, so the answer is always yes. Basically. You're not wrong. And you cut a Bauble because you're bringing in Spellbomb. I like that logic. Yeah, I'm not going to bring in the Surgicals. I'm just going to bring in the Spellbomb, I think. The Surgicals are not quite worth it. We might be at the Kick Moto portion of the stream. We've been going for 5 hours. 2.5 gigabytes of RAM. Alright, we're going to kick Magic Online here in a hot second. Gonna finish this match first here, obviously. This hand's really good. I would like to draw a Thoughtseize on 2, so that way we can go Shock into Thoughtseize Death Shadow. There's another Death Shadow. I think I'm gonna go bottom here. I definitely don't want a 3rd Death Shadow, so that's definitely going to bottom. The question is, do I want this Inquisition of Kozilek? Yeah, it's probably fine. It's probably fine. This is going to put me to 14. This is going to put me to 12, so I'll be able to play Shadows out on turn 3 here. Twitch chat only wants one thing, and it's disgusting. You're not wrong, Twitch chat. You should all be ashamed. I know you. I know your desires. Yeah, I wanted an actual Thoughtseize so I could lose health here was the issue. Like, while getting to, like, poke a card out of their hand is nice. Like, the fact that they're not losing health, it kind of sucks. It's a pretty easy path to exile. We'll likely be able to soft stub the Detention Sphere next turn. The number one reason to play Mill is main deck surgical. You ain't wrong. Nobody can argue with you because you're not incorrect. Technically correct. Which one could argue is the best form of correct? Let's go to 12 and get my 1/1s going on. Whole lot of 1/1s going on. This could backfire if they play Flicker Wisp next turn and I fail to draw a way to get these to 4/4s. Alternatively, I could also draw a way to get Tarmogoyf to a 4/4 though. Just played right into it. God bless. Really looking to find a Thought Seize before the Sun Titan comes down in a few turns. Everything worked out better than expected, chat. Definitely just want to put we're just like, some games are going to be in a position to beat like a Supreme Verdict with this deck. This is not one of those games. Need to just kill them. The way our cards have lined up, we want to just like put them under the fastest clock possible. So we're gonna hit them for 4 to 8 here. Wouldn't be surprised to see them decline this block because they have the Flicker Wisp to draw a card. This block doesn't bode well for us. Probably means there's going to be a concession verdict next turn. Good game, opponent. Yeah. The blue-white decks tend to be a harder matchup for this style of deck. They just, the way their answers line up, they're like, it's kind of like a great example of being a little bit bigger in these matchups. Like, our deck is like lower to the ground than theirs is, and they get to play these sweepers, which their volume of answers in ratio to our volume of threats is pretty favorable for them. They tend to have more ways to clear our things than we have things in general. 2 and 2 here. See if we can run back the next one. Be a real modern deck. Is the concede button hover a bingo square? I feel like if it's not, it should be. Hand's pretty good. Got some Disruption. Got some Serum Visions that could be anything. Got a quick Death Shadow. Opponent deciding whether to mulligan to 0 cards. Never forget, chat. Magic's a skill game and the better player always wins. Just saying, just saying. Alright, so what I'm about to say is going to make Twitch chat incredibly happy. There are two types of decks that tend to mulligan a lot, and one of them is Dredge and Graveyard decks. So I think I'm gonna board in Nihil Spellbomb and Surgicals in the dark. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and bring these in. One of them is Tron. The other one that mulligans a lot is Tron. You're not wrong. So maybe I like hedge and bring in a stub too. Tron and could be Bogles as well. Yeah, that's fair. I'm gonna bring in Graveyard Hate in the last stub, just like assuming that they're Dredge or Tron. I'm not gonna go as far to bring in the rejections because those could be potentially very useful. And again, this could be off base, but we kind of got a free square game 1, so maybe they'll get a free one game 2 if we guess wrong. I saw you mult one twice in a row, and I said this dude's content has to at least be funny. We do. We are at least funny. That is true. That's true. It could be Bogles. I feel like I have to hedge. I can hedge at most 2 directions, and I'm going to hedge Tron and Graveyard decks. So I'm going to bring in Nihil, Surgical, and Stubborn Denial. Again, we're just doing guesswork here. I'm surprised the opponent didn't, like, wait for us to make a play. Because, like, they don't really know how to sideboard either, right? Like, they could have at least waited for us to, like, fetch Shock, Thoughtseize them, right? On the draw with a Scry and a Bauble. They were ghosting a dude they couldn't win. Yeah, if there's some weird combo deck, the Graveyard Hate and Stubs are probably decent still too. There is a chance there's just like some kind of weird combo deck, right? All right, let's find out. Never didn't have it, by the way. Why would I not have it? I said, what? I said, what? Okay, so like, 1, why didn't they cast Swift Spear? 2, they must be at least, then this doesn't necessarily mean they're ghosting, but they were probably watching the stream before they started, right? There's no guarantee they're watching while we're playing, but like that's one of the things that happens too. Like even people that aren't ghosting, they're just like watching the stream, they're gonna know what we're playing, right? So what do I take here? I think it's Eidolon. I can see this going a couple different ways. Like, I have Fatal Push for Eidolon, and then I have, like, blockers for the Swift Spear. I'm pretty sure Swift Spear and Firecraft are the cards we're leaving. I could see arguments for taking any of the other 3. I think I'm going to take the Path to Exile here, because I'm going to have chances to draw more discard spells or counter spells to stop the Deflecting Palm. No, we had that was here. We had that happen once before. 10 out of 10 had that happen before. It's really weird that they didn't Swift Spear us on 1. I'm feeling a cut the line. Let's run back some Dog Mom and red-black midrange. Fair warning, another pupper joined the fray in place of a pack rat. Thank you, Pikes, for the very generous bits. I'm happy to get that one in there. The red-black midrange, it's actually on my list of decks where if they run good, I'm going to add them to my website. So I'm excited to get to play that one again. And thank you for the very generous support. Second Taylor. It's a little scary. More aggressive. That's a good thing, I think. Being aggressive is generally where you want to be in Modern. I assume we're going to see, like, double Swift Spear smash you here. Weird. Okay. Well, I think I'm just going to play the Overgrown Tomb tapped here and then, like, pass the turn to them. If they want to, like, play their Swift Spear shocking themselves, that's fine for me. So we'll Fatal Push this. We'll probably take 2 from Swift Spears down to 11. Next turn we'll untap, play 5/6 Tarmogoyf and tapped land. Yeah, I like the Soulscar Mages. The blue-red list on my website has been updated with 3 copies of Soulscar Mage. As always, the purpose of my website is to find my latest preferred iterations of archetypes. So if you know there's an archetype on there and you want my deck list for it, you can always just pull that up. No, I think that's being greedy, Terran Terror. I think we're not going to have a hard time dealing damage to ourselves if we need to. It's perfecting the meme meta. The fan favorite section of the website has a lot of great hits in it. It really does. And there's a smaller selection of like really competitive decks up there too, between the proven and the high potential deck lists. Gosh, their sequencing here has been so strange. So they have Firecraft, Deflecting Palm, double Swift Spear in their hand. But I mean, like, even if they know what's in my hand, it's still correct to play both Swift Spears there because they just want to get damage in, right? The surgical meme is good. Hopefully we run back the early harvest deck at some point so I can add that one to the meme section. The early harvest deck was a hot dumpster fire if you didn't watch that league, by the way. Sure. So we're just waiting for a stub at this point, right? Stub or Thoughtseize to just like destroy them with these Tarmogoyfs. I was so happy we got to do our thing a couple of times. So their hand is Palm, Double Tailor. So at any point we find a thing, we are going to dumpster them very quickly. I'm sure we're going to, like, draw Surgical Extraction next turn and feel real dumb, but, again, we didn't know what they were playing when we sideboarded because they conceded game 1 after mulliganing to Oblivion. Oh, no! We've been chained to the rocks, chat! We've been chained to the rocks! I mean, this is kind of loose, right? Like, I just get to attack for 12 next turn now? It's better than Path is a bold statement. It's different from Path. So with this attack here, any burn spell kills us, but I think I'm okay with that. Kill me! So, our 18 land deck, this is an 18 land deck, right? Yep, it's drawn 6. Hopefully they draw their 4th here. Then we rip Stubborn Denial and untap and destroy them. Do it now! Come and get it. Ring the dinner bell! They draw Lightning Helix. Okay. I assume we're dead, right? All right. Sultai Shadow. I think not. I just a couple of quick hits here. I think not having access to a basic forest is a mistake. I think if you feel like you need the number of fetches and shocks that are in this deck to make Tarmogoyf or to make Death Shadow work, you probably need. It's probably worthwhile to cut a spell for a basic forest. I think between your fetches and Traverse or Reclamation Sage, you can actually be okay against Blood Moon with this deck, and not having a basic forest, like, means you're completely not okay for the most part. Man Duck, thank you very much for the brand new Prime support. I appreciate that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My other comment would be, I would kind of like a Golgari Charmer to somewhere in the 75, but honestly, I'm not 100% sure what I'd cut. The extra Liliana in the Veil on the sideboard seems kind of random, but I guess that also helps you clean up some larger creatures, so maybe that's fine. Golem259, thank you for the brand new Prime support. I appreciate that. Welcome, welcome. Is this the best Sultai deck in a while? Yeah, probably. Every time we play non-shadow versions of Sultai, they feel pretty mediocre. The fact that, like, this is a Sultai deck that can, like, actually kill people is really nice. Because, like, again, Modern's a format about tempo and resource efficiency, so, like, Death Shadow in general is both very tempo and resource efficient. You get a lot of power out for the amount of mana you're putting in.